Welcome, everyone. We're just going to wait a few more minutes, and then I can start here. You can keep your videos on mute if you would like. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Sarah.
Just waiting a few more minutes for more people to join, then we can start.
Sounds good.
Hi, Leah. Okay, so before we officially get started, I just would like to request that everybody goes onto their speaker view. So on your top right corner, instead of the gallery view, if you just click speaker view, and then you'll be able to have a full screen of either my face or my slides. That would be perfect. So as more people are just rolling in here. I just would like to welcome everyone to our information session. I'm so excited for this. It's so wonderful to see everyone's names who I've been emailing with for the last 3 weeks. So it's always nice to feel like you're face to face, but we're not really face to face here. So I'm just going to go throughout this session. And again, if you have any questions, just please drop them into our chat box. And then once we are done with the information session, and once we have completed all of our slides, we'll go through any questions that you may have at the end of the presentations. And then we'll be able to answer all and any of the questions that you have for myself or Leona. So I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah Dillon. I work with Métis Nation British Columbia here with the Ministry of Youth. As a volunteer coordinator for My Eco Action, I'm so excited to be rolling out this program. The environment is one of my many passions. Coupled with volunteerism and having that Métis lens, I really think this program has the potential to do so many great things in our communities and throughout the communities throughout the province. So all of you are from various different places in the province, and this is just such a wonderful opportunity for everyone to come together and feel our connection to the environment, and of course with that Métis lens. So before I wanted to get started here, I just want to introduce you to a few of the staff members we have on our Zoom call. First, I would like to introduce to you Katie Trace. Katie, just wave and say hi.
Hi, just because it's on speaker view, maybe that'll pop up for you guys. My name is Katie Trace. I'm the Director of Youth. I've been with MNBC for about 4.5 years now, just returning from maternity leave a couple weeks ago. So getting back in and just so excited to see so many youth on here, and I'll be sort of moderating the chat and just here to support Sarah and Leona. So if you have any questions for me specifically, feel free to ask, but looks like we have about 23 youth on right now, so super exciting, and welcome everyone and look forward to the discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Next, we have Leona Shaw, and Leona, do you want to introduce yourself or yeah?
Hi everyone, I'm Leona. I'll be probably talking a little bit more later about Natural Resource Department. That's where I work in. So I'll be talking about maybe how the Natural Resource Department would like to work with the youth on this and support you guys in some environment related initiatives. I see one of the BC Manners captains have signed on, so I'm excited about that. And I'll be talking about the captains a little bit later as well. And I also know one of our community officers is on, so it's great to see them here. Yeah, and I'll introduce myself a bit later when I talk about the Natural Resource Department. Excited to be here.
Awesome, thanks, Leona. So I'm now just going to switch my screen view to our PowerPoint session. If everyone can see that. Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone to the My Eco Action information session. This session will offer you an opportunity to learn more about this program, the eligibility, your future learning opportunities, and volunteer experiences. Before I start, I just would like to say that this program is in its second phase. The first phase is called Follow My Lead, and I coordinated that program last year. That program didn't have an environmental focus. This really just came from you, the youth, and asking for more information about Métis-centered Métis-centered on the land programs. So we really just wanted to focus this program on the passion that we all have for the environment, and we're so excited to be rolling this out. And hopefully, you have the opportunity to ask as many questions as you would like during this session. Again, if you have any questions, please just drop them into the chat and we'll be answering them after. So now before we get started onto the program itself, I just would like to take a few minutes to describe to you who the Ministry of Youth is. Many of you have already been a part of the Ministry of Youth. Some of you, this is a completely new entity for you. And so I just wanted to provide you with a little bit of a background. We are an umbrella, so there's two different entities underneath the Ministry of Youth. So the first, I would like to talk about the MyBC Committee. The Métis Youth British Columbia is a volunteer-driven youth governing body that represents and advocates on behalf of Métis youth at the community and provincial level. So each of the MyBC committee members are elected members that represent each of the 7 regions throughout British Columbia. The MyBC committee identifies the needs and experiences and desires of the Métis youth across the province and provides feedback to the Métis Nation's British Columbia staff. So that is where myself and Leona come into play. We have 3 other staff members that work with us, and together, I'm just going to describe to you actually. So that is where the operations comes in. This information is provided by the MyBC influences. The MyBC committee influences the Ministry of Youth program and event planning. The MOY staff coordinates and oversees to support the Métis youth. These 2 entities work closely together to ensure that the Métis youth needs are addressed in real life and involved and engaged in all levels of governance both within and outside MNBC. So now, to get into the nitty-gritty, what is My Eco Action? First and foremost, My Eco Action is funded by the Government of Canada under the Canada Service Corps. If you haven't ever heard of the Canada Service Corps, it is a national movement to build a culture of volunteer service that empowers young Canadians to make an impact. The Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Youth, Justin Trudeau, launched a Canadian Service Corps back in 2018, and this is Canada's newest youth service program. So you are not only a part of a provincial program, but you are also part of a whole national program that youth all across the country are having a chance and an opportunity to volunteer within their communities. So it's actually quite an amazing opportunity, a chance for you to grow and feel more connected to your environment and your communities. So in particular, My Eco Action aims to establish and maintain respectful relationships between all Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth. This will be achieved by creating meaningful opportunities for Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth to discuss and learn how to become supporters and advocates in reconciliation through a cultural land-based perspective. So a lot of information here. Of course, I'm going to be going into more detail as we go on. But basically, this program is open to everyone and anyone. Of course, I'll be getting into more of the who can apply details. But we just, here at Métis Nation, we just really want to create an inclusive environment and rooted in reconciliation. So the Métis people and communities have been taught by knowledge keepers and elders to have a responsibility to steward and share the land. Through My Eco Action, all youth participants will have the opportunity to connect with Métis elders and traditional knowledge keepers by learning the traditional ways of the land. And that is exactly what Leona will go through once I have completed my slide. So who can apply? The biggest question that I have received over the last 3 weeks is, am I eligible to apply? Short answer, yes, if you are between the ages of 15 to 30, and of course you must be a British Columbian citizen. This age range, I know it seems very vast, and it's you from the ages of 15 to 30. Again, this is a really self-driven volunteer program, and so it will be a part of your responsibility to find your own volunteer services. Of course, with our guidance, we will be there, but it's really up to you to find out what you are passionate about within your community. So the Ministry of Youth is committed to providing an inclusive, diverse, and respectful environment and encourages applicants from youth of all backgrounds, genders, and religions and cultures. And of course, youth with a passion to learn about the environment and what positive impacts they can make within their community. And previous work experience is not required. So this is really an opportunity for you to grow, and it's maybe something you can put on your resume and your CV. I can't even count how many times I have filled out reference letters, and I have received reference calls and background checks about youth that have applied or were a part of our program last year. So this is really an opportunity for you to grow as well. The outcomes. First, I would just like to take a pause and say all of the pictures that are in this slide, most of them were taken by Leona Shaw. So take a moment and take a look at the beautiful pictures. Some of them were taken from our youth programs as well. So now the outcomes. You will have the opportunity to connect with the land and learn about Métis-specific culture and history. This is a safe space for our non-Indigenous youth to become allies of the Métis Nation. You'll be learning and volunteering within your community to understand the unique environmental needs within a Métis perspective. Stronger youth advocates and connections to the Métis community within BC. You'll have the opportunity to identify what meaningful land-based service opportunities look like for you. We'll be broadening your understanding of who the Métis are, what Métis inclusive reconciliation looks like, and how you can contribute to reconciliation through a land-based volunteerism. I like to call these the YLOs, your learning opportunities, the benefits and impacts of taking care of the land and community engagement. You will have professional work skills in a variety of sectors, conditional and volunteer opportunities. You'll be able to learn communication skills, conflict resolution, and how to strive within a team environment, leadership advocacy, and time management skills. So a lot of these learning opportunities will even come out of the virtual sessions that we will be hosting once a month that you will be a part of. I'm going to go into more details in the next few slides of the virtual sessions. So what to expect with My Eco Action? This program really aims to create a safe space and provide opportunities for youth to make a positive impact within their communities. While participating in the program, participants will also develop a vast set of skills and competencies about the Métis culture. All volunteers will have the responsibility to keep themselves accountable and are expected to participate fully. The expected to participate fully part, again, comes into the virtual sessions as well as your own volunteer opportunities. I'm hoping to keep in regular contact with all of you through through email, as well as our Zoom meetings that we will have occasionally. So you are expected to volunteer for 120 hours. That's approximately 15 to 20 hours a month. That is from now to December. Of course, you know, the 15 to 20 hours a month is not, it's not by all means not a requirement. If you find that one month you did more volunteer hours than the next, then we're just asking for a total that you complete 120 hours between that time frame. Any Zoom sessions that we have will be accounted for your volunteer hours as well. You will have the opportunity to learn about the Métis people, culture, history, and the language. You will be getting involved through team building and group learning dialogues in regional virtual seminars. You will help identify meaningful land-based service opportunities that are available within your communities. And once you have successfully completed your volunteer opportunities, you will be invited to attend a celebration trip to Winnipeg in February 2021. And all youth participants will be invited to attend the closing forum in March 2021. We went to Winnipeg last year and it was such an amazing time for all of the youth. I'm going to again get into more detail in a few slides, but of course these two trips are conditionally based on COVID-19 restrictions. Okay, the virtual seminars. So if you are a successful candidate, and I will be going through the successful candidate requirements in a few slides, you will have completed 120 hours of volunteer experience within your respected communities, along with development and involvement within your regional virtual sessions. So these virtual sessions will be centered on community-based environmental dialogue. You will have the opportunity to introduce yourself within these virtual sessions, your volunteer work, and connect with other interested youth across the province. 7 regional specific virtual seminars will be hosted between July to December 2020. So these virtual seminars, again, there will be 7 of them. You most likely will be involved within the virtual seminar within the community that you represent. And we're really trying to, Leona again will be going through more of the themes of the virtual seminar discussions, but they are through Zoom, and we're hoping that each volunteer participants will have the opportunity to again introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their volunteer opportunities, what they have been doing within their community, and the environmental and land-based specific themes within their communities as well. How much will the program cost? So this is a lot of questions that we've been receiving as well, one of the most frequently asked questions. Only certain expenses related to the participation in the closing forum and the celebration trip will be covered. This includes the transportation, accommodation, and meals. Some of the costs that may be incurred by the volunteers include your transportation from local volunteer opportunities, childcare during the closing forum, celebration trip, and/or your volunteer opportunities, materials and supplies required for volunteering beyond those that are already provided, and a criminal record check is required by your organization, if a criminal record check is required by your organization that you are choosing to support. So once we kind of go through the program and any of these costs come up, that's a discussion that you will be having with me, and then we will go forward to see if any of these costs are covered. So before applying to my Eco Action, consider asking these questions. Am I willing to commit to 120 hours of volunteer work between July 2020 to January 2021? Am I willing to keep in regular contact with the volunteer coordinator once a month? That's myself. Am I motivated to learn new skills and competencies? Am I prepared to participate in group activities during the virtual discussion and be a team player? Am I prepared to learn about and engage in the respectful Métis land-based environmental discussion? And am I willing to participate in any program-related research? Now the fun part, the trips. So successful participants, again, will be able to attend a celebration trip in Winnipeg, Manitoba, February 2021. Just this February, I had an opportunity to go to Winnipeg with 8 of our youth who were a part of last year's Follow My Lead program, and we had an opportunity to visit the Human Rights Museum. We went to a Métis festival, and we met elders. We were really immersed within the Métis culture in Manitoba, and although it was so cold, it definitely was worth it, and it was such a beautiful trip, and the youth that came along felt so connected to the homeland and so connected to the elders as well. It was really a special time. Again, this is just conditional on COVID-19 restrictions. Métis Nation is monitoring the pandemic closely, and we will know ahead of time whether or not we have the green light on attending Manitoba. And all youth participants will also have the opportunity to attend a closing forum in Surrey, March 2021. So this will provide you an opportunity to meet the other youth participants. You will be given a chance to participate in workshops centered around the Métis land-based knowledge. So we will be bringing in various facilitators to lead these workshops, and it will really just be a great time for you to meet your peers that are throughout the province and really connect with your passions through the environment. Okay, the schedule. So the application deadline, I said, is June 30th. All of you who have contacted me have received the application. If you do not have it and you would like for me to pass it along to you, I have my email connected at the end slide, so you can just send me an email and I can send that over to you. The regional virtual sessions, like I said, run from July to December 2020. And the volunteer duration within the province is from July 1st to January 2021. And the celebration trip is in February 2021, and the closing forum will happen in March 2021. Okay, how do you apply? So the Ministry of Youth ensures that all participants across the province have an equal opportunity to participate in the program. The volunteer coordinator, that's myself, will ensure equal representations of all regions while selecting. So first, you can request a registration package from myself. Then you will return the registration package to me. If you have been selected to join the program, I will be contacting you by the first week of July. Now, I just want to touch base again on the process of us accepting applications. So first, we really just want to represent all 7 of the regions across the province. We just really want to ensure that each of the regions are represented in the My Eco Action program. Second, we want to ensure that there are no repeats from last year. So if you were part of the Follow My Lead program last year, you will not be on the high priority list for this year. And third, we really just want to make sure that each community within the regions is represented as well. So I also would like to encourage each of you to send the registration and information packages out to any of your friends and family. You know, I've done a lot of volunteering in my time, and I continue to do, and it's always so much fun to do it with a friend or a family member with you. So I encourage you to send this far and wide. And we really just want to, again, open up an inclusive environment for the My Eco Action program. Okay, and that is the end of my slides. I would just like to thank everyone for listening. I know we have a lot of questions. I'm just gonna we're gonna do like a 3 to 5 minute pause here, and I'm gonna load up Leona's slides, and then Leona is gonna go through her slides, and then we will be going through your questions. Okay, I'm going to start resuming. I'm going to pass over the mic to Leona, and she's going to go through these slides with you.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone again. I'm Leona. I'm going to just be going over the natural resource and BC Manor part of this. I'm mostly here to listen and to try to make some connections, both on the volunteer opportunity side of things and on the potential future virtual webinars. I've been to a lot of youth workshops and seminars over the past few years, and I just hear so much interest in people wanting to be more connected with land users, harvesting, all of those things. So I'm really excited to be here and make some of those connections today. So who are we? So I'm just going to do a really brief overview of who we are. So I'm the natural resource staff. I'm the only full-time staff member at the moment. I was in the acting director role. Things are shifting a bit, and so it may be a senior manager and natural resource and environmental protection role, which I'm kind of excited to see, because there's often kind of a blurred line between natural resources and economic development. I'm really into the environmental protection side and stewardship. So it's exciting to see us taking more of that role, and it's really exciting to see us bring more youth on board for that. How I got there is that I have a diploma in fish and wildlife management, a degree in biology, and a master's in natural resource and environmental studies. I focus most of my work, I look at everything from an ecological lens and really a holistic approach. And I really like working with a lot of different botany aspects and and a lot of bird stuff I do too. So those are kind of my background and what I do. I, of course, work with the British Columbia Métis Assembly of Natural Resources, or we call them BC Manor, or the Captains of the Hunt. We do have one captain on. He's actually the one that's in the photo there. That's Darcy. So it's really great to see him on here. What they do is there's 8 of them all around British Columbia. They're all natural resource experts, I could say. They're different trappers, hunters, land users. They're passionate about the land. They're pushing very hard for harvesting rights for Métis in British Columbia. They work on different climate change files with me, stewardship. So it's really exciting to have them on board. And I know there's an emphasis that they would love to start taking more youth out onto the land and sharing their traditional knowledge and sharing their ways. Another one too is the Métis land users and knowledge holders. So outside of BC Manor, I have a lot of connections who are either elders or knowledge holders who are maybe expert trappers or fishermen, and they really want to be more involved with youth. Another big piece I think too is cultural and artists, Métis artists. Everything is so connected within this department, and with everything's connected to the land. So we have a lot of artists too who I think when you look at their art, you'll see how much that is connected to the land and everything that we do here in BC. So that's who we are, and that's who I'm hoping I can make some connections with for volunteer and the webinars. So I just put this quote up because I like to kind of start with that. It's a Métis trapper. He said that the land is our life. Without the land, we can't survive. It's as simple as that. So really within our department and with the captains, BC Manor captains, it's all about protecting the land and being able to use it for future generations. So why we're here today, we want to be able to share knowledge. Not only share knowledge with you, but have the youth and any youth, Indigenous, non-Indigenous, share knowledge with us. And we just really want to get to know I think for me, I think one of the big things is people protect what they love, and we all have different stories, and we all have different ways of looking at things. And I think when we share our stories and we share our knowledge, it really connects people and makes us realize how connected we are and how important it is that we work together to protect the land. Like I said, we want to do this for future generations. The captains do push for harvesting rights, but without the land, what kind of good is that if you have nowhere to practice your Métis way of life? And one thing that we'd like to do is just see more action taken. And that is why we're here, talking to the youth. So our priority is to connect with you, have you connect with your communities, and then bring it all out to a provincial level. Because there are Métis land users all throughout BC, it often gets overlooked. And this is such a great opportunity to really promote that and share that, and just start learning from each other. So what have we been working on? I'm just going to do a really quick thing just to give you a background on that, but knowledge sharing. So we have harvesters and land users. If you've seen me around, you've probably heard me talking about our hodgepodge maps and our use and occupancy map. So we document Métis land use from birth up until now, and we have harvesters all over British Columbia. And what that means is Métis hunters, trappers, fishermen, plant gatherers, everything. And a lot of them really want to share this knowledge. They really want to pass this on, and we're excited to make connections on that. You'll also probably see me at a lot of different youth forums talking about climate change. And part of that leads into my next bullet with building collaborations and relationships. So through some of that, we've been able to connect with Clean BC, and some other organizations that we're recently working with is the Freshwater Alliance. And actually, Jake, who's on this, thanks for the introduction, because he kind of got me connected with them, and they've been really fantastic to work with. And I'll talk about that in the next slide a little bit, but we want to really build relationships within our own communities and on the provincial level, but also with other organizations, networks, and even other provinces, because the land doesn't have any boundaries and it doesn't follow what we try to circle it in. So the more we can collaborate and share it, just the better we'll be able at protecting things. We work on a few projects like the Guardians and ICBM, which is an Indigenous climate change community-based monitoring program. We are putting in a new proposal for that. So there's always just opportunities to connect with land users and knowledge holders on some of the work we're doing. We really want to start doing more advocacy and campaigns. I'm actually going to talk about those on the next one. So maybe we can just go to the next slide. So what I was working with Sarah, which has been amazing on this, and she's filled me in. And so the question was posed, like, what does meaningful land-based service opportunities look like to you? So that's kind of the question that I'm putting out there, and would love to hear back. I understand there's a limited number of seats available in this program. However, there's endless opportunities to volunteer and to do work. And maybe if you can't commit to the 120 hours or you can't put in the application, there still could be some other ways that you could learn more and be involved in the Natural Resource Department or with the captains or some of the things I'm about to talk about. So please keep that in mind if it doesn't fit with one of those, that there's still other ways that you can reach out, and we'd love to hear more about your passions and your interests and what you're doing. Just some ideas. So I also want to preface this by saying I'm not trying to tell you what to do or where to volunteer. These are just some ideas that have kind of come up. I understand that everybody has different passions and different strengths, and the way that we do things are all valuable. So there's lots of ways. And if I don't name something and you have other ideas, please bring them forward. We'd love to hear it. But one thing is an on-ground experience or volunteering. So like I'd mentioned, I'd been in touch with the National Freshwater Alliance, our Living Waters Network, and a few other ones. And they're able to connect people to on the ground invasive species removal. There's some water monitoring in the Lower Mainland. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'd be more than happy to connect you with some of these other alliances and organizations, and then maybe they can find volunteer opportunities within their networks. So if you're interested in doing on the ground, that's something that I can help you find. Advocacy work. So this is a big one. There's one called Code Blue BC, and I'm learning more about that. That's more a digitally based one. So maybe you don't have the time or aren't able to get out on the land from where you are, but you're really interested in it. And they're really unique. They're doing a lot of online advocacy and teaching people how you write certain letters or how you approach things or what kind of information to get. And so there's some really neat opportunities within that. One of the big ones that I think is just always interesting, and here's a real big connection with Darcy here on the phone and some of the other captains. I'd love to see more connections between knowledge gathering from Métis knowledge holders and youth. So maybe that will be, we can connect, if you're really interested in trapping, I'm going to say that because Darcy's here, maybe there's a way we can connect you with a trapper like Darcy, and we can create something so that the two of you can work together. We can create, maybe when we're able to gather, we can organize some sort of youth trapping workshop or event. Another captain that we have, he's really interested. His name's Leonard. He's down here in the Lower Mainland, but he really wanted to maybe provide you guys with a wilderness survival or a hiking guide. These are ideas that we could do if you're interested as well in the future virtual workshops. So maybe there isn't too many volunteer on the ground opportunities, but we would love to hear from you. What do you have burning questions that you want to ask from Métis land users, artists, knowledge holders, and then I can try to connect you with the different elders and the different knowledge holders or captains. So that's one way too, which I think we would really love to see more of that. We have some elders who are no longer really mobile. I'm thinking of one particular one in the Okanagan, and she's an expert carver and she loves to share her stories, but she's not able to get out of her house. She also doesn't have internet. So it'd be really neat to connect and maybe have some people mentor with her or check in on her monthly, or maybe there's some sort of opportunity there. Another really interesting one is campaigns. So there's one that I recently learned about called Nature for All. It's a global kind of movement. Some people, I know you love your technology and social media, and I think you can reach a lot of people through that. And if you're really good at that, maybe you would like to help us form a campaign in this. It's a global initiative with Canada, UK, and Australia right now. As far as I know, in Canada, it's Parks Canada, the Canadian Park Alliance, and a few others, but they don't have any Indigenous partners. So in my head, I thought, wouldn't it be great if MNBC became the first Indigenous partner? So we could create some sort of, if there was some youth that was interested in doing that, but creating, you know, a way for youth to connect and share their stories. You take photos out in nature and you share stories, or you go speak to an elder and share their story. And then we would hashtag it Nature for All, just to show how important the land is and nature is to Métis, especially here in British Columbia. I know there is a youth committee, and this wasn't saying to create a committee, it was just an idea that maybe we can form something so that you can create some guidelines or create some priorities of what you would really like to see from the captains or from the Natural Resource Department, and then we could collaborate on some of those. So there are a lot of opportunities. There's beach cleanups, there's a lot. And I'm here to support you if you would like connections to outside programs or organizations. And I'm also, if for the upcoming webinars or virtual workshops, if you really want to know about climate change, you can reach out and I can either bring in Métis knowledge holders on that. I could bring in Code Blue BC, or I could bring in Clean BC, whoever might be a good fit. And if you're really interested in learning about like trapping, we could bring Darcy. If you really want to know about hunting, we could bring in a Métis hunter who could teach you some things online. So I just really am interested into your feedback on any of this. Feel free to reach out. I think next slide. Again, so the monthly workshop topics, I just put up pictures because I use pictures for everything. I think that storytelling is really powerful, and my favorite way to do that is through photographs. But hopefully, because there's going to be 7 more webinars, that we can connect you with whatever you may want to speak about or learn about, whether that's from Métis, from maybe someone from the province or federal government. I also sit on the Métis National Council Environment Committee, the technical working group of that. So there's other connections that we could bring in to maybe branch it out across the whole homeland. Yeah, there's lots of different opportunities, and I would really like it to be driven from your passions and your interests, and really make those connections where I can. And that's it. So that's my email, lshaw@mnbc.ca, or you can always send them to Sarah as well, and I'm sure she could connect us too. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leona. I hope that answered some of your questions that you have, but I'm just going to go through all of the questions that you have been dropping in the chat now.
Sarah, did you want me to read them out to you, and then you can just kind of answer them? Because I've been taking notes and just
yes, please.
Them. Yeah, all right.
That would be incredible.
So the first questions were from Fatima. And so her first question was, I'm curious if the trip specific date is confirmed and how many days it is for.
Okay, so both of the trip dates are currently tentatively we, just because of everything that's going on with COVID, we have decided on the months. So we decided on those specific months because they are once the program is completed. So once you have the opportunity to complete your volunteer service hours, then we will be going on a celebration trip to Winnipeg, followed by an opportunity for all of you to meet one another here in Surrey. So there is room to play around with. The specific dates have not been confirmed, but we have placed in those months for a specific reason, if that answers your question.
Yeah, and also just to add to that, so for the celebration trip in Winnipeg, it will fall over the Louis Riel Day celebrations, because that's what we're hoping to go attend in Winnipeg. So last year, I think it was around like the 15th or 16th. I don't off the top of my head know what it is this year, but just by simple, if you Google Louis Riel Day Manitoba 2021, you'll be able to see it. And the other part of it was, how many days is it for?
Yeah, so last year, or this year in February, we went for about 4 days, I believe, 4 or 5 days to Winnipeg. And again, just like Katie said, we really wanted to make sure we were there for Louis Riel Day, to celebrate Louis Riel Day in Winnipeg. This year, we did those many days because we wanted an opportunity to attend all of the events and everything we did, as well as be there for Louis Riel Day. And for the forum, so usually when we do host forums, they are usually a 2 or 3 day youth forum. So this year we're hoping that the closing forum again will be a 2-day workshop for workshops, and then having a closing day forum as well. So, depending on where you're traveling from, and if you have long travel days, it might be 3 days for you. So that's kind of, if that answers your question, those are kind of the duration of the trips.
Awesome. The next question was, can you volunteer with multiple organizations?
Absolutely, yes. So I would love, or we would love to see all of the youth try to dip their hands into as many opportunities as you can. And again, Leona went through the different service opportunities listed there. So if you connect with a captain and you are also volunteering within your community, that's great. So yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. The next one was, how many participants will be accepted in total?
Good question. So we were hoping for 21. If we receive an overwhelming number, there's perhaps some room to grow, but our number that we are hoping for to aim is around that 20 mark.
Perfect. Next question was from Sarah. So it says, as a student, I will be moving in August for university. Can I start in one community and then change? And what address should I put on for the application form?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it within different communities. I mean, to be a student, I have been there. It's a transient life as it is. So absolutely, whichever address you feel the most comfortable with. If it changes over the course of the month, just send me an email and I can go back into your information and change that for my records. But absolutely, you can volunteer in various communities throughout the province.
Perfect. Just going down here. So the next question was from Raven. So it says, is it possible to discuss some examples of land-based volunteer work? This sounds like an incredible opportunity, yet I feel like I have a lot to learn. While it is only recently that I have been reflecting on how important land is to health and well-being of Indigenous peoples and the consequences of environmental disposition due to colonization, I am having trouble picturing what kind of volunteer work I could do. I believe this question was put before Leona had put up her slides about some. So I don't know, Raven, if you want to unmute yourself and just let us know if that answered, or if you would like any further clarification from either Sarah or Leona.
That was super helpful with the slides. So thank you. You did answer my questions, and I have a little bit more of an idea of what kind of opportunities are out there. So thank you.
Perfect.
All right. The next question is from Lisa, and it reads, I'm interested in the connection between language preservation and land. Would we use Michif only or include local Indigenous languages? So I don't know if Leona, if you want to speak to that one a little bit, because I know it sort of falls in line with some of the other stuff that you're doing on the culture profile.
Yeah, I'd say it's up to you what you would be focusing on for that, but you will find in BC that there are a lot of Indigenous place names that are very important and carry their own powerful stories. So to me, I think it would be value in learning all of them because it puts the whole picture together. Yeah, and I think language is a huge part of preserving culture, the way that right now we are working on updating the Learn Michif website, and that will have all those back in it. And some of the stuff we've been talking about is potentially updating some of the things on there. So I do see value in learning all the languages, or not learning them, but learning the place names for the languages, because oftentimes you won't find Michif names, or I haven't when I have been asked. So it's good to know because this land is very shared, and it's good to kind of know everybody and know what everybody's doing on it, what everybody thinks of it, and that paints a very powerful story. So I think it's good to be inclusive.
That is excellent. The next one is from Jack. So what about Métis craftsmen? Would there be options for learning skills under those individuals? And there was just some additions to that. So things like tanning, carving, and weaving come to mind, but not limited to those things.
Yeah, so maybe that would be, again, more of a question for Leona, but if she can connect you with a knowledge keeper that has those skills, then absolutely. And again, it's that piece about connecting with the land and in a Métis specific way. Leona, do you have more to expand?
Yeah, because I do know, so one of the elders that I have been connected with lately, she is a carver. She's also like a beater, and she does do some weaving, but her passion is carving. And I know it's just difficult with COVID right now, because she was recently out of the hospital, and do we connect people right away like that? Or is there a way that we can connect people to talk about it, and maybe we could film her, or she could do some of that and teach in a broader sense? There is another carver I can think of in the Lower Mainland. And yeah, we could definitely reach out and make those connections and see what that could look like. But it is difficult right now with COVID. I don't know what the rules around that might look like right now, but I'd say there are opportunities. And if we reach out to different carvers, elders, it would be up to them, but I could see some definitely be interested in that. Mm-hmm.
Great. Excellent. There was a comment here from Nicole just saying, I'm really interested in foraging and medicines. So I think, Leona, you touched on that already, and know you're also very passionate about that. So I think there'd be some really great connections made there. I see that Raven answered after I put her on the spot and asked her to say whether it answered it. I think the question was already answered about how many participants, so we'll past that one. What kind of things will we do in Winnipeg? I don't know if Alexis had that question answered or not, or was there any other specific questions you had about it? I don't know. I can't see on here if that person wants to. Oh, sorry, the thing was blocking you. Do you want to, unmute yourself and just, there's something we can answer
what I
for you?
meant by that was like, I do know that we're celebrating Louis Riel Day, but what kind of events and activities will we be attending during the duration of the 5 days?
Yeah, so last year we had, or I keep saying last year, but in February we had such a packed schedule. Again, we went to the Human Rights Museum, we went to the Winnipeg Art Gallery. I'm just like going through the days in my head that we did. We had a beading workshop with a local beading artist who came and showed us her skills, and we learned how to make some earrings through that. We also went to the festival, so that's the Festival des Voyageurs, which is a Métis specific festival in Winnipeg. You totally put me on the spot here. If you can think about doing something in Winnipeg, we probably did it. We went to the legislation building as well. We had also an amazing opportunity to have a private dinner at a Indigenous restaurant. It was so beautiful and such a great opportunity for all the youth to connect We did have 2 elders come with us to Winnipeg. So every evening, the youth had an opportunity to connect with the elders, and that was really such a beautiful time as well. So yeah, I'll send you the agenda if you want from last year.
Perfect. And then a question here from Fatima. Is there any volunteering opportunities with your organization?
Katie, would you like to answer that?
Yes, definitely. We're always looking for volunteers. I mean, if it's specific to the My Eco Action Program, I'm sure Leona maybe want to touch on that a little bit more, but yes, we're always, I mean, there's anything, depending what you are interested in getting involved with. Again, there's just tons of stuff always going on, so we can certainly look at ways. If you had a specific area that you wanted to get involved with, I'm sure Leona would be able to help you find that as well.
Yeah, so I'd say there's definitely opportunities, and I think it's even very flexible and open to what your passions are. I know within natural resources, because I am on my own, mostly in that I would love I'd love to learn. I'd love someone to help me figure out what do youth want to do? How can we make that happen? Gathering more voices and creating just online platforms. Or I know in the past we've talked about creating a trading post where people can log on and trade information or share resources, just things like that, that maybe we could just have help with or support with. And I'd definitely be open to talking about more of that, and based off of whatever the passions of that person were and what they felt their strengths and where a good fit for them would be, and we could probably create something. Yeah.
Right.
I think I went through all of them. I don't know if anybody else, if your question was not answered, maybe you just want to put it in the chat box now or unmute yourself and just let us know if there's anything else you wanted to discuss before we wrap up.
Hey. Yeah, I just would like to thank everyone for attending the information session, and I hope we answered all of your questions. If we didn't, you can send me an email privately and I can try to answer that question for you. Again, send the registration and the information package to your friends, to your family, and we really just are, again, trying to strive for an inclusive environment here, and really just want youth to connect with the land and connect with the Métis Knowledge Keepers. So again, thank you so much for attending this. I hope everyone has a great evening. Shoot me any questions in the email that you can. Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Leona, for attending and sharing with us as well. Right, have a great night.